Spider-Man Brand New Day is out, and so far at least, has been met with critical and commercial success. Deservedly, I think. But something about some of these responses has been giving me slight pause. NME calls it the best Marvel film of the decade, which, I mean, Guardians 3 wants a word, but hey, maybe it is. The Independent says it's the best Spider-Man movie in over 20 years. It's not so much that I disagree with these judgment calls and the many others across the internet placing the film apart from and above the MCU of recent years. It's more that I think this sort of exceptionalist framing buries one of the most important and most interesting parts about why and how this film works, which I'll do my best to explore in this video without any plot spoilers. What are we dealing with in Brand New Day? Well, this is a Spider-Man film continuing on from the last Spider-Man film, one retaining the Home trilogy's main writing team of Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, but after previous director John Watts exited the franchise, he was replaced by Destin Daniel Cretton. I think it's fair to say that Cretton's pre-Marvel credits more than qualify him for a Spider-Man film, but I also think it's fair to presume that he got drafted for Brand New Day because of his history of working successfully with Marvel, on Shang-Chi, on the abandoned Kang Dynasty film, and on the Wonder Man TV series. And without wanting to dump on John Watts too hard, I think Cretton's impact, as well as that of his longtime cinematographer Brett Porlack, is visible in Brand New Day's greater sense of physicality and mise-en-scène. So, one of the reasons Brand New Day ended up being as good as it is this roster system of frequent collaborators Marvel has built up. The Marvel's expanded post-Endgame output has allowed it to build up, through which people like Cretton, Jack Schaefer, or Matt Shankman can become familiar with the Marvel method and then step forward into further projects with that experience. This is also a film with a lively supporting cast. As is apparent from the trailers, Punisher has a pretty meaty role in the movie, the Hulk isn't too far behind, and there is another minor player with a similar pedigree that I won't spoil. These aren't cameos, they're characters, and so, Brand New Day's world comes together from the Sony-produced Spider-Man films from the old-school MCU with a Netflix come Disney Plus TV player, and from the movies of that same post-Endgame era that furnished the picture with its director. There's even a minor plot device originating from She-Hulk. But all that is wrapped around a tight, character-focused Spider-Man story with human stakes. Towards its end, Brand New Day is able to land a fairly powerful moment that makes a point about empathy and connection, because really that's what the rest of the movie's been about too, thanks in no small part to the connections this film draws to its wider world. It's a story that not only benefits from its franchise positioning, but vindicates and maybe even retrospectively improves its predecessors. In other words, this is not an alternative, a correction to the modern-day MCU. It is a product of it. If a film like Captain America: Brave New World was the Marvel process failing, this is it succeeding. Brand New Day is what a story in an interconnected universe looks like when that universe is moving forward, when it isn't cameo-itis, vertical meaning, zombie cinema. Again, all those recognizable superfaces that pop up might have seemed like random picks from the trailer, but the choices all fall into place as the script's themes of alienation, community, and self-denial begin to coalesce, because they're all loners of one sort or another, sorts which become directly relevant to Peter's journey. For one more specific example of how Brand New Day benefits from its MCU context, there's the way the film takes the Damage Control plotline, first set up by previous Spidey films, then developed by the Disney Plus shows, most recently by Cretton's prior Marvel project Wonder Man, and really kicks it up a gear. Before now, Damage Control had kind of oscillated between seeming nefarious and simply bureaucratic, but Brand New Day commits to a treatment of the organization that provides excellent dramatic stakes here, and seems poised to continue offering them throughout the next MCU saga. It is that rare thing in a Marvel movie, set up for the future that doesn't diminish the now. Viewed in this way, then, Brand New Day is anything but. It's the fruit of Marvel's rebuild era, the filtering through of that era's best elements in front of and behind the camera. The same spirit of intentionality and iteration that led to the Marvel TV shakeup, and that emerges in a comparison between the 2 seasons of Daredevil Born Again, for instance, feels present in Brand New Day's razor balance between world and protagonist. Its commendable lack of those CGI backgrounds and nowhere spaces that have been a flaw in even the better MCU entries of past years. And viewed in this way, and please don't revoke my lefty YouTuber license for saying this, it also makes you realize the MCU has been good for a while now, for a lot of these same reasons. That is, since the tail end of the impacts caused by the 1-2 punch of the Writers Guild strike and the Jonathan Majors pivot, we've had a streak of Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Wonder Man, Born Again Season 2, One Last Kill, and Brand New Day, none of which have dipped below the level of pretty good, and 3 or 4 of which are excellent. Has this quality rebound filtered through to the public's perception in time, though? Would it have been enough to save the franchise? It's hard to say. There's always something of a lag between project quality and general sentiment, but the fact that Brand New Day's doing as well as it is might be a positive sign in that regard. Spider-Man always does big numbers, of course, but I do think it says something that this very post-Endgame Spidey film is tracking to more or less match the box office returns of the nostalgia fest that was No Way Home. This is a movie that suggests the MCU might have got its mojo back, that vindicates this current era of Marvel. But in a very real sense, it's also the movie that ends it. As Brand New Day's post-credit scene hastens to remind us, the next Marvel movie is Avengers Doomsday. We've talked before on the channel about this, so I won't stress the point, but it's very hard not to look at the stunt casting of Doom, the substitution of a built-up villain that easily could have been recast, the emergency drafting of the safer hands of the Russo brothers, and the rumoured post-Secret Wars continuity reset as signals of desperation from the highest levels of Marvel, and opting away from gradual, iterative adjustment in favour of hype-centred short-termism. I'd love nothing more than for that film and Secret Wars to come out and be great, to carry through the realism and the continuity and the characters that have worked so well over the past couple of years, but considering the very safe tone of the new trailer, considering also the way it seems littered with those familiar dead settings, I can't say I'm holding my breath. And either way, the era of pessimism and foreboding that seems to surround Doomsday is bigger than the film. The sense of a pivot, of a contracting future this rather backwards-looking promotional campaign conjures up, seems an embodiment of the real-world, cost-cutting tech company mindset we talked about in April's bonus video. The one behind new Disney head honcho Josh D'Amaro's sweeping layoffs and the rumours of a shrinking production slate in the future. If nothing else, the axing of Marvel's whole visual development team means the next chapter of the MCU remaining as stylistically striking and coherent as these recent highlights becomes an unlikely prospect. And so despite the name, Brand New Day feels like the end of an era, the last entry in this forward-looking, post-disruption multiverse saga pocket to have emerged before Marvel blinked, pulled the cord, cleared the board. It broke as I was writing this video that Marvel had cancelled Season 2 of Wonder Man, for instance, which sucks, because that show rocked. My apologies if this video is how you're hearing about it. Whatever comes next, I'm sure we'll look back on Brand New Day fondly. I just think we owe it to the film, and to this chapter of the franchise that produced it, that heightened it, to lump it in with the post-Endgame MCU, with phases 4, 5, and 6 as we do so. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was always a corporate device for exploiting IP, for conquering the entertainment industry, for sanding down stories and storytellers for mass consumption, yes. But it was this, too. Thanks for watching. I did something in this video which is kind of a pet peeve of mine. I normally find it quite annoying when people substitute actual textual discussion of something like this for franchise meta-analysis, so I hope you'll forgive me. This is the only angle that jumped out to me as a topic to build a video around. If you do have a hankering for textual analysis, how about Doctor Who? I made a short video about the episode Oxygen as part of a big collaborative video with other essayists recently, so I'll link the supercut below. It contains some really fantastic mini essays by some amazing creators. Kyle the Scott's entry is one of the best videos I've watched this year. I've also released a standalone and slightly extended version of my entry for my Patreon and YouTube supporters. You can watch that and dozens more exclusive videos from me for as little as £2 a month. And bonus, you're giving me a better chance of being able to keep the channel going long term. Huge thanks to everyone supporting already, especially Birding Baddie, Hanan, Daniel Goldhorn, Deathstrick HQ, Harry Price, Kwanghu Liu, Nothings, Something Something Capitalism Bad, Stephen Van Doren, Thomas R, and Weirdy Birdie.